Should we trust boxed wine, Carmela?
I mean, why not?
Well, it does have this reputation of being low quality and cheap.
True.
But
we don't mind cheap.
We don't mind cheap so much, but it could be that it's actually better than we give it credit for.
Truly.
Are the wine snobs wrong?
Let's find out.
We're going to find out and give our verdict.
Okay.
Hello and welcome to the Wine Pair Podcast. I'm Joe, your sommelier of a reasonably priced wine, and this is my wife and my wine pairing partner in crime, Carmela.
Hi there.
And we are the Wine Pair.
Woohoo!
And so if you are new to our podcast, here's what you can expect. If you love wine and you want to find great wines at affordable prices and you want to expand your wine horizons and you want to have some laughs and fun while doing it, then you are in the right place. Each week, we explore a different wine varietal, style, brand, or region of the winemaking world and learn about what makes them worth knowing about. And then we taste 2 to 3 of those wines that are reasonably priced to let you know if they're worth your hard-earned money. So if that feels like you, then we're happy you're here.
Yes, for sure.
And we are also proud to say that Decanter Magazine calls us fun, irreverent,
chatty,
and entertaining.
Yes.
Carmela, you may wonder why we're doing an episode on boxed wine.
Because you've been thinking out of the box.
Oh, I like that. I like that. I'll tell you the real reason why.
Okay.
A few weeks ago, a listener of ours named Maria K. responded to our newsletter with this question.
Okay.
I quote, "Now that everyone is worried about our job security, inflation, and our 401k plans, what do you think about reviewing some boxed wines? I remember having some Bota Nighthawk Black Red blend a few years ago and thinking that it wasn't too horrible. But then I'm a lowbrow sort of gal."
Oh my goodness. Well, look, if you want to still get your drink on,
Do
this
it.
might be the way to go.
Might be the way to do it. And
We're gonna
Maria,
find out.
we're with you. We're lowbrow too. Let's go.
We are?
We're kind of lowbrow.
I don't know.
Medium brow.
What does lowbrow mean? I feel like that has a pretty, kind of a negative connotation too.
I think she means that she's not pretentious. That's the way I would interpret it.
Then I like that.
Yeah, and I also really love that question, including that she's okay with it not being too horrible. But I have been sitting on a boxed wine episode for a while, and I've really been wondering when the right time to resurrect them would be.
Okay, when you said sitting on a boxed wine episode.
Not
First
a
I was
boxed wine.
Wow.
No,
what are you
I've not
sitting
been.
that's
No.
not I guess it could double as a seat. I don't know.
No, you do not sit on your boxed wine.
No.
And we'll talk about why. But thank you, Maria, for that. And with summer coming very soon, boxed wine could be on the menu if you have friends and family like over for a cookout or a party and you need to take care of them economically.
Right.
So it feels like a good time to do it.
Love it.
Now, if you go into the Wayback Machine, Carmela, before we knew what the hell we were doing, not like we know what we're doing
I know,
now.
really, what has changed?
But when we really didn't know what we're doing, in our first 20 episodes, we did 3 that were part of a series that we actually stopped doing called Cork Free. And in those episodes, we would review wines that came in packaging
right.
without a cork.
Right.
So it'd be like spirit
Canned
caps,
wines.
canned wines. And,
Yes.
and we did one called Corked Free Boxed Wine Pinot Grigio. So we did actually do that.
Okay.
So we've done it before, but we really only ventured into it like deeply once. And by the way, we're not suggesting that you go back to those episodes because I cannot guarantee you're going to like what you heard there.
Well, and I wonder how we liked those wines.
I don't know. I feel like we were kind of doing it as a little bit of a goof. And I think now we're going to do it a little bit more seriously. Like, are they actually good wines or not?
Okay.
But did you know, Carmela, that boxed wine is growing in popularity?
Oh, good to know.
Yep. And Maria is spot on by calling out that with prices rising on almost everything, including wine, as we deal with tariffs, maybe it's time to do a serious expose or unboxing of boxed wine, if you will, to see if it's as bad as its reputation is.
Oh my God. Do we have to start out that way?
Well, no, I mean, but
Maybe we say, maybe is it like better than we imagined?
or expected. Well,
right.
Here's some things. Now, there are some higher-end boxed wines out there that are trying to change perceptions of boxed wines overall. So in a future episode, we may do 1 or 2 of those luxury boxed wines. There's ones like Grazie and Evolution and Juliet and really good wine. So, hey, if any of you out there in listening land are interested in us doing like maybe higher-end boxed wines, let us know. We want to do stuff that you want us to do. So we might not do it if nobody responds.
So they're actually they're expensive then.
Some are $100 a box. Wow. Like no joke.
occasion do you have a boxed wine for when it's expensive like that?
Well, I mean, I think because you're just going way ahead. So we'll get to that in a second. But one of the things is they're economical and they carry a lot of wine. So in a box. But we'll get there in a second.
Wow. Okay. I guess I don't have the script.
No, you don't. This is something that she just complained about before we got, even though yesterday she said we were compatible. Today.
Compatible?
No, compatible.
You said compatible.
Did I say compatible? I don't, maybe it was Freudian. But no. This is one of the things, too, where somebody's going to listen to this episode and we'll say, will you get to the point? So anyway, we'll get to the point. But yesterday she said we were compatible. And today, before this, she was like, I don't have the script. Anyway, okay. In this episode, we're going to start.
It's not a deal breaker, okay?
No, obviously not, because you're here.
Right.
Can I go?
Yes.
Okay, so we thought we'd start out with some boxed wines that are pretty easy to find and have at least a decent reputation. And we'll go into that in our next kind of like deep dive section about where boxed wine came from, some other things about why people really like them. But let's talk about the rise in popularity of boxed wines. So the latest statistics, I can almost say that, take us through about 2023. But since the year 2000, boxed wine has been growing in popularity. Between 2018 and 2023, helped by COVID, boxed wine sales grew 30% in the United States. But by contrast, in recent years, overall wine sales in the U.S. have declined by 5%. So boxed wine's going up while all wine is going down. So it's taking a bigger and bigger piece of the pie. In 1998, boxed wine represented less than 1% of wine sales. And today it's 10%. 10% of, so that's a huge increase. And that's in the US. And more than even the volume that's being sold in terms of consumption, 17% of wine consumption in the United States is boxed wine.
Oh my God, who are these people drinking all this boxed wine?
And who are we to be so poo-poo about it? Right. Because, we should find out. Now, it's not just in the U.S., though. You're going to find this hard to believe, because I found it hard to believe. But boxed wine consumption is also growing in Europe and the UK and Canada. In fact, an article from the Times in London says that 45% of wine sold in grocery stores in France is boxed wine.
Amazing.
45%.
I would never, ever have guessed that.
I would never have guessed that. And in Canada, there's a similar trend to the U.S. Boxed wines are growing in sales, while wine in bottles has decreased 14% since 2023.
Wow. If the French and Canadians
if they're on it, hey, we can drink it.
Please.
So again, there's a lot of reasons why this is happening. Again, we'll dig into some of these reasons in a few minutes. Obviously, cost is part of it, but they still suffer, at least for some people, the wine snobs, whatever, from a relatively bad reputation. And so we want to find out if this reputation should stick. So we have two boxed wines that we're going to drink and review today, including the La Vieille Ferme red wine, famously known as the chicken wine, but this time in a box, and Bota Box Pinot Grigio, to see if either of them are worth checking out. But first,
you got to do our shameless plug.
You got it, sister. So thank you for she's not my sister.
Wow,
thank
that
you
would
for
be really
that would
weird.
be weird. Yeah, so thank you for listening to us and supporting our show. And if you haven't had the chance to do so yet, now would be the perfect time to follow or subscribe to our podcast and leave us a nice rating and review too, like 5 stars. And that will help us grow listeners. And we appreciate that. And all of you have done those things already. We love you. Love, that's a big word. You can also follow us on Instagram at The Wine Pair Podcast and on Blue Sky. You can contact us on our website, thewinepairpodcast.com. You can sign up for our email newsletter there, and it's going to come out first day of June. Hey, you better get on it. You can also visit our shop wine and shop accessories sections where you can find links to buy wines that we rate highly and accessories that we think are really good that you should be using or giving out as gifts. And we want to make content you care about. So again, like, hey, if you like this boxed wine concept or you want us to do expensive boxed wines or whatever, give us a ring. Give us a shout out and we'll do it. And speaking of shout outs, oh, by the way, you can email us at joe@thewinepairpodcast.com. You can DM us on Instagram. And speaking of shout outs, a few shout outs this week. So big shout out to Christine K, who shared some pictures of her recent trip to the wine region in the Douro, which we covered last week. The pictures were stunning. They were really beautiful. So appreciated that. Shout out to new listener John, who reached out to be added to the email newsletter. So
cool,
we were like, hey, we got you on, buddy. A shout out to Chris Chris in Seattle, who DM'd us on Instagram and suggested we do some more food and wine tie-ins. So we haven't done that for a while. So it's been, we did some Greek
like
food.
some tasting with it along with our
like
review.
a cuisine.
Okay,
Yeah, like
okay.
so I like that idea. And what would a shout out be?
Without one to Tim.
Timmy's Vino. He shared a couple of videos of his dinner at Guy Savoy in Vegas where they were tasting some crazy champagne by the glass and a 1990 Domaine Le Roi Grand Cru from Burgundy. I had to show my father-in-law because I'm like, dude, look at what they were
all impressed.
A little bit like
come out to dinner with you.
Yeah, like Tim. I mean, it's super nice that you DM us, but can you just come over and bring some wine?
Right,
Let's
right.
go. Let's go.
Share alike here.
Let's go. I mean, I keep giving you shout outs. Let's reciprocate a little bit.
Oh my gosh, we're on to something, I think.
And of course, Maria, who was the inspiration for this episode. And as we do every week, we'll let you know someone we think you should recommend the Wine Pair podcast to, because that is the best way for us to grow listeners. And this week, we want you to recommend us to anyone who's frustrated by higher wine prices. I can almost say that. And or is curious about boxed wine and if it's any good, because they may get a lot out of this episode.
True.
Yeah. Do them a solid.
I mean, you always owe somebody something.
It's so true. So true,
on.
Queen. Okay, here we go. Carmela, let's spend a little time talking about just what the boxed wine is and where it came from, shall we?
Let's do it.
Okay, so the first thing I'm going to say is that boxed wine is a bit of a misnomer because the wine, at least in the big boxes like we're going to have,
it's not really in the box.
It's actually in a bag or a bladder.
Yeah.
A bladder.
I know, that's weird.
I know. And that bag is then placed in a box. So it's not like it's a big box of wine.
Which probably affects the taste.
Well, we're going to talk about that, Carmela. I like that you're just leading in. It's like segue after segue after segue. I can't segue. No. I'll get yelled at for that too. Joe should be much nicer to his wife.
I don't yell at you.
Just look at our comments. Every once in a while, somebody gets mad at me. It's fine.
Wow.
Okay.
Thanks for backing me up, people.
So here's the thing. Should it be called boxed wine or bladder wine?
Ew.
I think bladder wine.
No.
I don't think people would drink bladder wine.
I don't think so. Nobody wants to talk about their bladder. It just makes them
even wine bladder. Why did they even come up with that name?
Bladder.
Wine bag. How about bag? Wine.
The whole bag wine? I don't know.
Okay. If you do get the little versions, like they have the small versions of the stores that are in little boxes, those are actually in boxes. There's no bladder in there.
Right.
It'll go
Those
into
are
your bladder.
Hardboard wines.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
So I don't know, though. I just think it's kind of a funny thing that they decided to cover it in cardboard, like in a box.
Yeah.
Is it because they wanted to make it
shape.
cheaper?
No, it's shape.
Yeah, no, I know. But I'm just trying to figure this whole thing out. Like, who decided on box wines?
Carmela, the segue is incredible because we're going to talk about that. Do you know where boxed wine is from originally?
No.
You're
from
never
the United
gonna,
States.
No, you're never going to guess.
France.
Okay. It was actually in Australia.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I would never have guessed that.
Because they want to go to the beach.
Yes, exactly.
Easier to take box wine to the beach.
For sure.
Okay.
Now, an Australian man named Thomas Angove is credited with inventing the process, sometimes known as cask wine. And in 1964, his company was awarded a patent. Now, today, boxed wine is pretty convenient, but when it was first sold, customers actually had to cut the corner of the plastic bladder or bag and then reseal it every time. So this would be a disaster. Yeah. Like for me, if you cut the corner, it would be all over the place.
So, okay, what happened next?
Well, consumers didn't like that.
No.
So in 1967, an Australian inventor named Charles Malpas, who worked at the famous Penfolds winery in Australia, created a plastic airtight tap that was attached to the bladder. You don't want to tap on your bladder unless it's a wine bladder.
Wow.
Anyway, this design was key, Carmela, because it helped keep the wine fresh much longer and much easier to pour out than cutting the corner off of a bag.
Can you imagine? It would just spill everywhere.
Can you imagine putting it in your fridge and the seal isn't tight?
What would you use? Would you use tape? Would you
I don't know, those little clips?
A clip-on thing?
I don't know.
Or a rubber band?
I don't know. This is why it didn't work. Okay. But it's basically the same design with that tap on it that it is today. Mm-hmm. Now, boxed wine didn't really hit the U.S. until the 1980s. And when it came, it was mostly low-end wines like Franzia or Franzia, if you're fancy, they were most involved in producing and selling the product in boxes, which is why the wine, especially in the United States, had and still has a pretty crummy reputation because they weren't doing it for quality. They were trying to get out wine as quickly as possible, big boxes and cheap. So that's what they did. So you can blame Franzia for the reputation in the United States. And it was really then Black Box and Bota Box wines that started to shift the perception of boxed wines when they came out in about 2003. So it took a while. And since, again, like I said, since that time, more and more premium brands have started producing boxed wines. And I would just say most wine snobs, like your dad, will probably never.
Say like you.
Well, no, like your dad will probably not ever be like, a boxed wine. Like if I brought a boxed wine, he'd probably be like, what the hell?
I mean, even a screw cap is not totally
he
something.
Doesn't. No, he doesn't really like it.
Yeah, he likes the whole process of taking out the core.
And the tradition.
And
Totally.
Some people like that.
Yeah, some people do like it.
It's part of the experience.
100% for sure.
But there's a lot of open-minded people too.
That's right. Okay. You're going to tell your dad you don't think he's open-minded.
Well,
but anyway.
just about wine.
True. This is true. Now, if you're curious, we have lots of links in our show notes. Did you know we have show notes?
Really?
We do. So if you go to this episode on our website and you click on the episode, you can find our show notes, lots of links. There you can learn more. But today, the bladders are made with polyethylene, and it's considered safe, non-toxic, sturdy, and neutral. And
I
neutral.
wonder if they've always been non-toxic.
I think they've always been made from this plastic, and I think that is part of the reason why it was like okay to do. But the neutral thing is key because you mentioned this. The neutral part of the bag is what doesn't impact the flavor, so that's really important. It doesn't impact the flavor of the wine.
Okay.
And sometimes the bladder, I like just saying bladder, is often placed in an outer bag made from a similar plastic that protects it a bit more.
You sound a little more clinical when you call it a bladder.
Yeah, than a bag.
Yeah.
My old bag. I don't want to call it the old bag. Anyway, most winemakers use PBA-free plastic if you're curious, if that's important to you. So we got that. Like, where did it come from? All that kind of stuff. But why do people like it?
Okay, why, Joe?
I know. So the first reason is cost. The most popular size for boxed wine is what we have. It's 3 liters. That's 4 bottles of wine.
My God.
Or about 20.
You bought 4 bottles of wine for
No,
this
I bought
episode?
8 because I have 2 boxes.
Cow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
come on over, people.
And it contains. We got a party. Come on, Timmy.
Party
let's
in a
go.
box.
But that's about 20 standard 5-ounce pours. So that's a lot. And at about $20 a box or less for the average boxed wine, you're getting the equivalent of a bottle of wine for $5. That's not bad.
What have we been doing with our life?
I don't know. But again, there are some of these expensive box wines, $60 a box, $100 a box. So, not going to make it on the podcast, although maybe on the average price of a bottle, they may make it. So again, let us know if you want us to do that. Now, the second reason people like boxed wine is that it can last longer than a bottle of wine after it's opened. So I will just say this, boxed wines are not meant to be aged. The way that they're packaged, etc., it's kind of like screw caps. They're actually not meant to be aged if they're made in that fashion. But once they're opened, they can stay drinkable fresh for 3 to 4 weeks.
Oh my.
Yeah, so that's a long time because like a regular bottle of wine, you open it, you have to seal it up, and what we do is we seal it up, we put it in the fridge. We think that's the best way to store it, but 2 to 3 days is kind of max that you get. 3 to 4 weeks.
I mean, one thing to note too, you don't need to store or collect or keep you wouldn't collect boxed wine.
No, you wouldn't. I think you're making a crack on me because of the wine I collect.
Well, kind of. But what I'm saying,
no, you don't want it sitting. You don't want it sitting in your cellar.
I want to get this vintage.
No.
Store this for a while.
Look, it's like when you went to you and me, but I think people out there that can relate. Like when you went to your grandma's house and she'd bring out the donuts or the cookies or the ding dongs and you're like from the freezer and you're like, How long have these been sitting in the freezer? If somebody says they're breaking out the 20-year-old boxed wine, like weird. Don't go for the water instead.
Or actually it might be fresh. You just don't need to do it because you can get the same quality that same day, probably.
You're right.
Okay.
You're right.
Okay,
You're right.
good.
But I'm still talking about like you don't need old. You
No.
don't need old boxed wines.
No.
Like you don't need old ding dongs from your great Aunt Catherine, which is what we had. Anyway, the third reason boxed wines are convenient and durable. There's no bottles to lug around. They're not going to break. The square size is easy to manage in your grocery bag.
Pack it up when you want to go to the picnic.
Exactly. Like bottles are fun, but they're kind of goofy when you're trying to put them in your fridge. But a box, easy, right?
Right.
It's got a good form factor to it. Better than if it was just the bladder without the box, right? That would be just fumbling around. I had to say bladder.
I just don't know about this.
And again, the last reason, this fourth reason, is that it's supposed to be better for the environment. So yes, it uses plastic, but the packaging is lighter and it takes up less space than glass bottles. So that means lower impact when it's shipped. The cardboard boxes and the bags they're made from are more sustainable than glass to produce. And many producers are actually starting to make the bags with recyclable plastics. And clearly the cardboard boxes can be recycled too. So they're a little more eco-friendly in a lot of ways.
Nice.
Now, I'm sure there are other reasons that people have for appreciating boxed wines, but we can say pretty confidently that they're improving in many ways, and they do have some advantages over wine in a bottle. The one drawback, I will say again, is the aging. We don't need to talk about that anymore. So what you should think about is great options for boxed wines are white wines, rosé wines, and lighter red wines. A heavy-duty red wine like a Cabernet, I'd probably stay away from it because those heavier red wines need to be aged. So a Pinot Noir, this red blend that we're going to drink tonight, these are better options for a boxed wine. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay.
But should we learn a little bit more about the specific wines that we're drinking tonight, Carmela?
Let's do that.
All right. So as usual, the wines we have chosen for this episode are under $25. And because these are boxed wines, the per bottle costs are closer to $5. And they should be pretty easy to find because I bought them both at QFC, which is our local Kroger. So basically any place you can buy shitty wine, you should be able to find them.
Wow.
You should be able to find these at your local 7-Eleven.
I love how you just called it out like that.
Hey, there you go.
We don't know. They could knock us off our feet.
No, I didn't say they were shitty wine. I just said you can find them in places where you can buy shitty wine.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
Okay. I don't know if I made that clear enough, but obviously the distinction kind of threw you for a loop a little bit.
Yes.
Okay. And then we specifically chose these boxed wines for this episode because they seem to have decent reputations. And again, especially the Bota Box, really easy to find. Like you can find them almost anywhere. So let's start with the Bota Box. It's the Bota Box Pinot Grigio, and there really is not a ton of information about this wine or either of the boxed wines, but I can tell you that Bota Box is located in California, and that's where the grapes are sourced, but I can't tell you anything more about the grapes themselves than they are Pinot Grigio from California. That's it. That's all I can tell you. Now, Bota does talk a lot about their carbon footprint. They say their boxes are 100% recyclable with packaging that produces 96% less landfill waste and has a lower carbon footprint when compared to glass bottles. So if you're interested in eco-friendly packaging, these are what you should be looking for. And the boxes also block out light and air, which keeps them fresh, they say, for up to a month after opening.
Wow.
And then I chose a Pinot Grigio because I think it's a wine that's kind of hard to F up.
True.
It's not the greatest wine in the world, but it's also not, it's
kind of a go-to, like if you're just needing something that you consistently pretty decent.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of a crowd pleaser. It's what we say, not offensive. And if you're doing a party, great option for a wine because it's kind of a pleaser for people who like white wines. So let's move over to the other wine, which is the chicken wine, also known as La Vieille Ferme red wine or Vin Rouge. Again, not a ton I can tell you about this wine, although my understanding is that it should be the same wine that they put in the bottle. So if you see that bottle with the chicken on it called La Vieille Ferme, or the box, and it's the red blend, then it should be the same exact wine.
Okay.
Now, the wine is made by the winery called Famille Perrine, and they make a lot of wine. And over the course of time, they've changed the specifics about where the grapes are from. So now they're saying the grapes are just from France. In the past, they actually noted the vineyard where they were from, but they don't say that anymore. So it probably means they're sourcing from a lot of places. The winery's in the Rhone Valley, And so, as expected, this wine is more or less a GSM blend, Grenache, Syrah, Mourvedre, although it looks like there's no Mourvedre in this wine. And so, while they don't give the percentages, what they say is that it's a blend of Grenache, Syrah, Carignan, and Cinsault, or Cinsault.
Okay.
So, so it's more or less a GSM, but it's not exactly a GSM. But honestly, that's kind of it. I mean, here's the other thing. If you want to know a lot about your wine, don't get boxed wine.
True.
Like if you want to know what oak is used and all these different levels of pH and sugar and blah, you're not going to get all that stuff. Where the soil's from and the terroir, you're just not going to get that.
Okay.
Now, maybe in some of the higher end ones you will, but a boxed wine, you're getting it for the convenience, all that, and hopefully some of the flavor. So we'll talk about that in a second, and we're going to see if maybe one of these will knock our socks off. Who knows?
Let's see.
But here's what we always say. If you've got a boxed wine or the chicken wine or a chicken, if you got a chicken,
Bring it out.
Drink it. Oh. I don't know how you drink a chicken.
No.
But anyway, drink wine with us. See if you agree with our tasting. And if you do, let us know. Send us a note. We'll send you some stickers. But with that, we're going to take a break and we'll be right back.
Okay.
Okay, we're back and we are ready to try our first wine. This is the Bota Box Pinot Grigio. It's from California. That's all I can tell you. No vintage on it. Doesn't have a year. It was $18.99 at the QFC, which is a Kroger store. That's the equivalent to $4.75 a bottle.
Holy.
12% alcohol, 100% Pinot Grigio. No professional rating. Vivino only gave it a 3.3, but we'll see. Now, I will say, when it poured out, it was very bladder-like.
Well, it's just a whole different experience, like
we were like wrestling with it a little bit.
It's in a bag. It's in a bag. It's in a bladder.
And it's got a little faucet.
I mean, just what you would think, but it feels very casual.
Totally.
And it feels like a lemonade,
Yeah, it's like being at a lemonade stand.
Yeah, either a lemonade stand or we used to call it Capri Suns a bag juice. Like,
totally.
It's like a bag juice.
That's exactly what it is.
But it was easy. Did not need a corkscrew.
Yeah, and it's going to go right back in the fridge just like that. And we're going to be drinking this for a month.
Holy moly.
Let's talk about the color. It's super light. Super light.
Looks like a Pinot Grigio.
It looks like a Pinot Grigio. It's a little yellow straw, but it's not deep, dark color. It's super, super light colored, almost lemonade-y kind of colored. What are you smelling?
So I'm definitely getting apple. It's a little bit brioche-like a little bit of that going on. Something sweet, like sweet bread.
Oh, you got sweet.
Yeah, what are you getting?
Yeah, I'm getting apple, maybe pear, a little bit of lemon. I did get a little bit of like a kerosene. That's a kind of, sometimes in white wines, you'll get a little bit of that kind of smell to it, or like a airplane glue. I mean, it's pleasant smelling. It's not complex. I mean, there's not a lot to it.
No, it's kind of apple juicy.
Totally it is.
It's not, there's
orchard fruit.
Right. But it's not like hot, or you can tell that it's pretty mild in terms of alcohol content.
Yeah, totally.
But not, nice. Not offensive or anything.
No. Should we try it?
Yeah.
Let's try it. It
tastes like juice.
It's juicy.
Kind of tasty.
It is. It's not bad. It's a little bitter on the end, but like kind of a little bit of citrus pith bitter, like lime pith bitter.
I would say so too, yeah. But definitely, there's a little bit of lemony or orange even.
Oh, a little orange is good.
Orange, yeah, even like a candied orange a little bit.
I agree with that. Or, sometimes when you squeeze the
rind?
Yeah, you squeeze the rind of an orange and it's kind of sprays a little, and it's got that kind of bittery, citrusy.
There's a little bit of bitterness for sure. I'm tasting that. And again, it's kind of at the end.
Kind of at the end. Said. Yeah. Not as much apple, I don't think, on the flavor. Maybe a little more pear.
I would agree, but it's a little juicy tasting, but the citrus is really coming through.
It's easy drinking.
I know. I actually think it is too.
It's a little dangerous.
It's kind of picnic beach, like summertime sipper.
I honestly think I can see this going to your parents' beach house, July 4th, whatever. This would be a great option.
Yes.
People would be happy. You don't have to bring out a bunch of bottles. Nothing's going to break. People
would you
drink
know this is from a bladder?
Not immediately, but maybe after a few hours. But anyway,
but really,
yes.
Okay, so
yes, because the box would be out there. No, if I didn't know, blind taste test,
right.
no.
I wouldn't know either. I would
no,
not
if somebody
know.
was like, gave this to me and no, I would never guess that.
I agree that if you are trying to feed a lot of people.
Yes.
No. If you're trying
Perfect party.
actually. And you're trying to be economical, this is not a bad option.
And here's the other thing. You're like, it's Tuesday night, Thursday night, whatever.
Friday night.
And you just want a little glass of wine and you don't want to open a whole bottle.
Break out the box.
Break out the box, put it in your fridge. Next Tuesday, you can have another glass and you're fine. It's still going to be good.
It's kind of like having a keg.
It is having like a mini keg in your fridge.
Right.
So let's talk about what food we'd pair with this Bota Box Pinot Grigio.
You could do all kinds of yummy food with this. I mean, I feel like I'm thinking picnic.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you could do like chips, something salty. I'm kind of thinking even like cheese board. Even for some reason, I'm kind of going down this chicken, like maybe because you were having a chicken wine next.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I could see like a yummy chicken sandwich with this.
Potato salad, macaroni salad, really good, like a little
picnicky.
Greasy, like creamy salad. It's got enough acidity to kind of sit with it. It's good. I think it's a fine wine.
I have no qualms about it.
No, I mean, it's not great. Like, it's not going to knock your socks off. But
we were hoping for a knock your socks off.
But I mean, it's fine. So as a reminder, on our rating scale, we rate on a scale of 1 to 10. We don't give half points. 7 and above means we'd buy it. 4 or below means we're going to pour it down the sink. And a 5 or a 6 means we're going to drink it and we'll finish it, but we're not going to buy it. But Carmela, what rating would you give this wine? This is a tough one.
Gosh, it's really tough. I mean, I have to say, the box is cool too. I'm going to give it a 7.
Okay.
I would buy this. I'm thinking like if I had a bunch of girlfriends over, like doing something outdoors, like it might be kind of fun, like the novelty around it too. Like it might be like, I brought a box wine, like just kind of throw everybody for a little bit of a loop. I think it'd be fun. I'm giving it a 7.
Listen, wine snobs, knock it off. Here's what I'm saying. I'm giving it a 7 too.
Okay.
Is it going to be the wine that I like break out for a fancy dinner? No. But like Tuesday night wine, fine. No problem. A party wine, fine. No problem. It's freaking $4.75 equivalent a bottle.
Right.
It's $5 a bottle. Like this is... What do you want?
Right.
What more do you want?
No, I agree.
And there's nothing offensive about it. It's fine. So
it feels a little old school too. I mean, it might kind of be fun just to break out for that reason.
Yeah. So for the occasion for which I would use it, I would buy it. How about that? So that's why I'm giving a 7. It's a little bit of it's a little bit of like a
constraints on
it's a little bit conditional. It's a little bit of a conditional 7, but you're not going to, if you blind tasted this wine, nobody would go, oh, it's crap.
Or they wouldn't say, oh, that came from a box or from a bladder.
So, no, fine.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to
should do that one time.
Put our bladders out there?
No, but we should maybe like...
Just serve it and just see what people
and like
think.
have it in the back and not show people, but just like... and
F with them a little bit. F with them.
I mean, maybe that's not very... honest.
No, we're going to do it. We're going to say, ooh, we found this really good wine. And then people are going to be like...
if you guys do that, let us know. If you're like, you just go to the sink and... you go to the... refrigerator.
The Frigidaire.
Yeah. Come on.
All right. Well, do it. Let us know if you do it. All right. We're going to take a break and we're going to try our second wine.
Okay.
Okay, we're back and we're ready to try our second wine. This is La Vieille Ferme red wine, Vin Rouge. This is the chicken wine. It's from the Rhone Valley of France, non-vintage. It was $22.99 at QFC. That's equivalent to $5.75 a bottle. 13% alcohol. The grapes in it are Grenache, Syrah, Carignan, and Cinsault. I couldn't find any professional ratings or Vivino ratings for some reason. But I will say, pour the spout's a little bit different than the other one. I made a heavy pour. Like if you don't watch yourself, because the wine comes out fast.
Right.
You did a heavy. You don't usually pour that much wine.
No, it's dark.
It's very dark.
It's like almost black with a purple rim.
Yeah,
Maybe because it's dark in this room.
It is a little dark in this room. I mean, there's a little shimmer in the bottom where there's just not, it's got a little, it's
grape
opaque.
Juice looking.
It is. It is kind of grape juice looking. Okay, what are you smelling?
Oh, I almost got a little incense on that. I don't know why.
I like that. A little sandalwood. A little sandalwood. Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'm smelling your incense at your.
Maybe.
But no, sandalwood, that's a good one. Also, I'm getting a little bit of leather too.
Okay, you're getting those.
Yeah.
What the fruits I'm getting? Definitely my first whiff was plum.
I was going to say plum too. I have plum written down.
But my second whiff was a little bit more grape.
Oh.
And I'm getting spice on it.
Like what kind of spice?
Like a licorice spice or a peppery spice.
Like an anise?
A little bit. Like a little bit of black licorice on it and spice, like a pepper spice on it.
Okay. Yeah, plum though. I feel like it is kind of an Italian plum.
Yeah.
The darker ones.
I think the Syrah, like Syrah can be peppery. I feel like the Syrah is really coming out in this. But it's actually got a little bit of complexity in the smell.
Yeah, and I would not know. I know we haven't tasted it yet, but I had no idea that it was coming from a box.
No, you'd never guess. Okay, let's taste it. It's okay. It's pretty juicy and sweet. It's pretty grapey. I think it tastes grapey. I think it tastes like grape juice, which again, we always say it's like, well, isn't that what it is? But wine rarely tastes like grape juice.
Yeah. It definitely is another juicy wine, like a bag juice wine.
Yeah, it tastes like it's Capri
like a
Sun.
Capri Sun. The kids called it bag juices.
Yeah. So this one has tannin, a lot of tannin.
Yeah.
It's
at
very
the back of it too.
Yeah, kind of big tannins. It's kind of drying off the tongue at the end. It's got a little bit of bitterness. It's
I don't mind it. I don't mind it.
I don't mind it. I don't.
I wouldn't dump it out.
No, but it's not a wow. It's not a wow wine.
It's almost a little thin for a red wine like this. Does that make sense?
Totally is.
Yeah.
The other thing is, to me, this is a cookout, like big party cookout wine. Like, again, this is probably a little bit of a crowd pleaser. It's pretty easy drinking. Like you can kind of gulp it. And if it was a little cold and you can serve this a little cold,
right?
Like you can gulp it.
Truly.
So I think it's another, like if you're having a pool party, people, this is all I'm going to say. Just watch the boxed wine, okay?
Yeah.
Don't let people overdrink at your pool
like
party.
you said, just the fact that it pours so fast. You can't put this stuff back.
No, you can't put it back in the bag.
No.
You can't put it back in the bladder.
Don't bag your bag.
Once it comes out of the bladder, you can't put it back in that bladder.
You don't really want to either.
No,
but,
I wouldn't.
But
do
yeah,
it.
there's no, you can't like even get like a, what do you call those things with the hole in the middle? A funnel.
A donut?
A funnel.
Oh, a funnel.
You can't even get a funnel and
No.
like put this baby back.
Baby back. You're right. Okay, Carmela, what food would you with this?
What food I would have with it would be like you could do total barbecue, grilled food.
Yeah.
You could do like for some reason
Cheeseburger.
like cheeseburgers definitely came to mind with like a good American or cheddar. I also think like shish kebabs would be really good with this.
Shish kebab.
Wouldn't that be yummy? Because I just think a spadini. It just would be a nice cookout dinner.
Yeah.
And I think that would be tasty. What else?
This is a total backyard outdoor.
This is summertime again.
Warm weather. You can put it on ice. It's fine. Like it's okay chilled. This is an outdoor party wine.
I do feel like boxed wines really are suited more for summer.
Probably so.
I don't know why.
But again, maybe we have to try these really fancy ones and see what happens.
True. Okay.
What rating would you give La Vieille Ferme Vin Rouge?
Oof, this is another tough one. I'm just, again, I don't know what occasion I would best this out for. The white wine, like I said, maybe the same kind of thing, like just for a little bit of like fun, and people will drink this and enjoy it. I know, I think I'm giving it a 7.
Oh wow! Okay,
I think I'm gonna.
Okay, I like it. I'm teetering between a 5 and a 6. This is not a pour your wine down the sink.
No.
This is a wine I would go back and have. Like if somebody were serving it, I'd be happy drinking it.
You're just not going to buy it.
No judgment, but I wouldn't buy it. I
just don't know.
Maybe for a party, but I still think for a party, I would probably buy a different wine.
Yeah.
But no, if I went to a party and they were serving this, I would be like, great, I'm going to drink that wine. Yeah. I wouldn't say no. I wouldn't be like, oh God, I can't believe it. I'm going to have the water. Like, where's a beer? Do you have a beer? No, I would drink this wine.
Okay.
So I think I'm going to give it a 6. Okay. I like it. It's not, I'm teetering to the 5 because it's like, it's kind of meh.
Well, this is the funny thing.
Maybe I'm going to go with a 5. I'm going to go with a 5.
Okay. Well,
because it's not like we rarely give a 5, but this feels like a fair 5 wine. I'm going to drink it. I'm going to go back for more, but it's meh. It's like average.
Well, this is my thing. I kind of like the whole novelty of this too.
Yeah.
I think, which is kind of fun. Not to say that it should be a novelty wine for everybody, but so if this was in a bottle, I'm not positive that I would give it as high of a rating, actually.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, because I just feel like this is kind of tasty for a boxed wine. And I'm not, again, like I don't want to sound pretentious, but I'm not.
You're so pretentious.
I know. But I do think it could be a fun, I just kind of like the idea of breaking it out with a certain, and in fact, I actually feel like with closer people, like it's not like,
right.
You know what I mean?
People you trust that aren't going to make fun of you.
Right. Like I just feel like if we were going to have some sort of like dinner party with a certain group, you wouldn't do it.
No, you don't want to be, you don't want to get sweaty, a little bit embarrassed, with your family.
But
who
if
cares?
you're going out with a bunch of girlfriends, bunch of guy friends.
Girlfriends, nobody would care.
Yeah, they might find it kind of fun. I mean, you kind of build it up a little bit too.
Yeah, I agree.
Anyway.
Which of these 2 are you finishing tonight?
Oh, you know me. I'm going to go with the white. I'll do the Pinot Grigio.
Me too. The Bota Box Pinot Grigio. Mm-hmm. I was surprised by the Bota Box, to be honest with you. Again, it's not like amazing wine, but it's like super drinkable.
Totally.
Okay, let's do the taste profiles expected from both Pinot Grigio and then this Grenache Syrah Carignan Cinsault red wine blend. So first of all, the typical taste for a Pinot Grigio are lemon, lime, green apple, pear, peach, melon, saltwater, whetstone, high acidity, and light body. And for the Bota Box, the winery says fresh and fruity and delivers juicy, medium-bodied flavors of white peaches and citrus with a clean, refreshing finish laced with pineapple and floral notes, served chilled. I think the only thing we got out of that was
we got some
citrus. We didn't get peach.
No, we did not say, but apple.
Juicy. They didn't say
We both said apple.
Yeah, that's in a typical Pinot Grigio, so you're right. But the
Bota Box.
The Bota Box people didn't say it. But
I didn't get white peach on it.
No, I didn't get peach. Lemon, lime, and apple, and pear, for sure, and acidity. Okay, so then for a Grenache Syrah Carignan Cinsault red wine blend, a mix of red and dark fruits like raspberry, cherry, blackberry, and plum, floral or herbal elements, spice, pepper, earthiness, medium-bodied, medium-high acidity, medium tannins. And then, so the winery says about this wine, the nose reveals a seductive bouquet of red fruit and spices. Full of delicacy, the palate is full of freshness and well-balanced with aromas of cherries and very soft tannins, giving this wine great drinkability. Reverse Wine Snob says aromas of cherry, red fruit, and a little spice. The wine tastes simple and good. It features fresh, juicy, fleshy fruit, similar to the nose, good balance, and soft and smooth mouthfeel. Ends with a dry, satisfying, medium-long finish. I think that's that's a fine description of the wine.
Right.
We got a little bit more. I didn't get as much cherry, a little bit more plum and grape. Nobody ever talks about grape when they talk about wine, but it smelled grapey.
For sure.
But a lot of spiciness and pepper.
It's funny that people just, they want to just dart around that.
Yeah, agree.
Look, facts are facts.
Facts.
It's made from grapes.
Not alternative facts, but real facts.
Right.
Okay, Carmela, before we go, just really quick, boxed wine. I would definitely do more boxed wine. I think we should try more boxed wine. Every once in a while we can do it. I think, again, it's a good summer. And people, again, listeners, friends, please let us know if you would be interested in us doing more boxed wine, and in particular luxury boxed wine. So let us know. Okay, with that, we are going to go, but we also, before we do that, we want to thank you very much for listening to us. Now would be a great time to subscribe or follow the podcast. Also a great time to leave us a nice rating and review. And we also, again, love to hear from you. Let us know about boxed wines you want us to try, all that kind of stuff. Go to our website, thewinepairpodcast.com, join our email newsletter, reach out to us at joe@thewinepairpodcast.com, DM us. We'd love to hear from you. We always respond, and we really appreciate all the people who take the time to reach out to us. It means a lot. Thank you for doing that. But with that, we're going to sign off. So thanks again. We'll see you next time. And as we like to say, life is short, so stop drinking shitty wine. Bye-bye.
Bye.
And the happy ending at the end of our story. much.